I will never forget that trip to St. Louis. As a 26-year-old young adult, I was privileged to be invited to headquarters to take part in a discussion on whether or not the need for a young adult ministry existed. What an honor it was to be given a voice for my generation. Statistics at the time claimed that young adults were walking away from God, never to return. It was a daunting trajectory projected for the lives of my friends, my coworkers, my generation, and even my life. In 2009, Hyphen was established as the young adult ministry of UPCI Youth Ministries. On a national level, Hyphen targets young adults ages 18 to 30 who are single and graduated from high school. Why the name Hyphen? Well, hyphen grammatically exists in the space between two words for the purpose of connecting them. Young adults often feel as if they are existing in a space between. That space between high school and college, this degree and that degree, this degree and that career, this career and that marriage. And while hyphens exist in a space between, they have a purpose: to connect their world to their God, to connect their life to God's will and purpose for them, and to connect their passion to serving in the kingdom. On a national level, we simply want to help them connect to mission and change their world as their lives are changing at such a rapid pace. Since Hyphen first began, it has been evident that God's hand is on this generation and that He desires more than mere retention. He desires this generation to be released outside of the four walls of the church. It was in 2019 the Hyphen leadership team felt God shift the purpose of this ministry from retention to release. Therefore, we updated our mission statement, vision statement, and values to reflect the direction we felt Him leading this incredible ministry. I'd like to share these with you today. Our mission statement: Hyphen is a network of young adults equipped and empowered to be the church. Our vision statement: to release young adults to daily impact their church and community. And then we have 4 values. Number 1, to uncover identity. We educate young adults on how to discover their true identity in Jesus Christ. Number 2, develop leaders. We develop young adult ministry leaders by responding to the need for resources with practical and spiritual applications. Number 3, unleash pursuit. We intentionally encourage young adults to pursue apostolic ministries that will release them to be the church outside of the 4 walls through networking with future church members. And then number 4, discover purpose. We believe young adults can live out their purpose by connecting their passions to kingdom work. The Hyphen leadership team under the umbrella of Youth Ministries serves to educate and engage not only district leadership teams, but local leaders and Hyphen young adults. How we hope to best serve you is through resources. Whether you're looking to start a Hyphen ministry in your local church, or you've been serving in Hyphen ministry for a decade, we want to continue to equip you with resources that will help you lead this generation to the best of your ability. The Hyphen website has been restructured to provide a more user-friendly experience in regards to resources. We strive to load new resources on a bi-weekly basis, so please visit hyphenonline.org to check out these amazing resources available to you. We also invite you to follow us on social media at Hyphen Online. If you've ever asked yourself, do we really need a Hyphen ministry? The answer is yes. Of the 324 CMI chapters, a vast majority are led by Hyphens. Of the 2019 AYC attendees, 67% were Hyphens. So does your church need a Hyphen ministry? Yes, because we need missionaries, we need teachers, we need church planners, we need creatives, we need preachers, we need worship leaders. We need Hyphens because the church needs a future. When we begin to feel the weight of the potential that comes with releasing young adults into apostolic ministry using the talents that God has entrusted them with, it can truly feel overwhelming. As a leader, it's a tall order to guide a young adult ministry. If there are 2 things Hyphen young adults need from you as a leader, I would say, number 1, they need you to be present in their lives. And number 2, they need you to minister from the overflow of your relationship with God. Being present simply means taking time for them. They have a lot of voices to filter through during this particular season of time. Bosses, professors, friends, roommates, family members, social media, the list goes on. And the best way to compete with the many voices they are filtering is to be present in their lives. You don't necessarily have to be louder because that might be impossible, but just be consistent. Consistency is oftentimes lacking in the majority of the voices in their life. And if they see that you are present and you are consistent, they will trust your voice. Being present is more than just being there for a weeknight class, a Sunday morning worship experience, or a monthly activity. And all of these things are great and they're needed. But being present is sending them that random text that you're praying for them. It's meeting up on a weeknight or weekend for coffee or for a meal or to hang out and spend quality time together. It's tagging in after an altar call and asking the tough questions. It's being there if and when they reach out to you. Amidst all the noise in the world, young adults desire to have a voice in their life that they can trust. And what an opportunity to be a voice they value. The best way you can position yourself to be that kind of leader is to minister from the overflow. Social media can be an amazing tool, and sometimes it does give us insight into the emotional status, the struggles, the successes of our young adults and what they're experiencing. But I can't help but long for what feels like the old paths, when God would give that spiritual nudge to pray for someone or to reach out to someone. I have a feeling that we will be way more effective ministering from the overflow and the nudge of the Spirit than we will ministering from our assumptions of where we think our young adults are spiritually, mentally, and emotionally based on their highlight reel. They need you to minister from the overflow of your relationship with God. They need you to be a leader who is connected to the source, the answer to every question. In a leadership podcast, Mark Ostreicher put it this way: junior hires ask one question regarding their youth leaders: do you like me? High schoolers ask that, but they add a second question: do you like me? Do I like you? You have to be authentic, transparent. You have to get their buy-in as loyal leaders. But young adults add a third question: do you like me? Do I like you? And do I respect what you stand for? They are watching your lifestyle. Have I seen you out of the pulpit in a way I can respect you? Do I see you pursuing excellence in your life? Have you dedicated yourself to your calling? Can I respect what you stand for as a person? Oh God, help us as leaders to always reflect you, your unconditional love, your actions, your reactions, your example in how we lead our local and district young adult ministries, especially right now when hyphens have experienced such extreme disappointments. A new era of human spaceflight was set to begin as American astronauts would once again launch an American rocket from American soil to the International Space Station as part of NASA's Commercial Crew Program. NASA astronauts Robert Behnken and Douglas Hurley were set to fly on SpaceX Crew Dragon spacecraft, lifting off on a Falcon 9 rocket at 4:33 p.m. on May 27th from Launch Complex 39A in Florida for an extended stay at the space station for the Demo 2 mission. Around T-minus 17, the call to abort the launch was made due to weather conditions. After the launch was called off, Mr. Behnken and Mr. Hurley had to sit patiently for about an hour as the fuel was pumped out of the rocket for it to be safe for them to be released from their seats and exit the Falcon 9 rocket. The next scheduled attempt to launch was set for Saturday, May 30th at 3:22 p.m. It was successful. To be honest, I didn't even know a rocket was scheduled to launch on Wednesday, May 27th. The live feed from NASA popped up in my Facebook feed, and I thought, well, this should be fun and interesting to watch. So I let the live feed continue to play from my laptop as I worked on other projects scheduled to be completed for the day. I know very little about space or space travel or rockets, astronauts, but I found myself very intrigued. This was a historic moment. And it didn't take long before I left my projects behind and became completely intrigued by everything that was taking place during that final hour before liftoff. From seeing the new SpaceX spacesuits that were recently given a 5-star rating by the astronauts to hearing about the rocket's ability to reach speeds of about 17,500 miles per hour in order to remain in orbit, I became mesmerized. While watching the astronauts sit in preparation for launch, I began to imagine the anticipation welling up inside of them, and I too began to feel a bit of anticipation inside of me. And I also felt a little claustrophobic at the thought of being in those suits and in those seats for what would be an approximate 19-hour trip. T-minus 20 minutes, T-minus 19 minutes, 18 minutes, 17 minutes, abort mission. This call to abort mission no doubt deflated the overwhelming excitement and anticipation experienced by the NASA crew, the astronauts, the people watching live from around the world, and even me in my office. I was disappointed, and I had only been watching for about an hour. I had not been preparing for months, even years, for this epic moment that was postponed. Delays can be so derailing. And it's often during delays that disappointment and tremendous loss are experienced, with grief being left untouched. Watching this historic journey unfold and feeling that roller coaster moment of excitement turn disappointment made me think of the Hyphen generation and what they have experienced over the past few months through no control of their own. Looking back to January 1, 2020, so many Hyphens, and probably you and me, we were suited up, we were locked in, we were ready to launch into all that God had for the new year. It was a year of perfect vision, right? We were going to get focused. We were going to align ourselves to God's will and launch into something amazing. The Hyphens were going to see their best day. They were prepared for their brightest hour, so they thought. Till the call was made and each of their personal missions, goals, dreams, plans were aborted. The call was made to cancel their graduation day. They were required to abandon their mission field, filled with college students and coworkers that they were so determined to reach this year. Wedding plans called off, jobs lost, financial problems, fear of the unknown, and to top it off, the doors of their churches were closed. Disappointment all too quickly became their closest friend, and they experienced losses that they potentially have yet to grieve. And there they sat in the seat that was supposed to launch them into memorable moments that now became missed moments. They were forced to solitude instead of all that could have been. Yet God works in mysterious ways. And in an instant, Hyphen's lives became a mystery filled with one question: why? Us as leaders, we've probably asked that same question, while also wrestling with how to help them answer that for themselves. The question why can completely destroy one's trust, or it can launch one into a deep place of trust that will sustain them in moments of disappointment, loss, grief, pain, and even joy. Questions do not frustrate God, but we can't let his answer frustrate us. He does not work according to our plans, our desires, our dreams, our goals. He's God alone. And maybe as a leader, you feel like, I don't even know what tomorrow holds, but he holds it. So we have to manage our emotions, and we have to help Hyphens manage their emotions of hurt, pain, and anger, not just mask them. Because whether we realize it or not, we've all experienced trauma. Loss has laced our recent reality. So the question I'm asking is, what have we as leaders done with disappointment, and how have we helped Hyphens experience grief at the feet of the Master who's in control of it all, knowing that they've been disappointed too? Suffering results from loss. It's heartbreaking. I know, and I've experienced personally, the scripture promise that I share with you today, Psalm 34:18, that the Lord is near to those who have a broken heart. Even if you as a leader feel paralyzed by your pain, he's near and the miraculous is possible. And if you walk in that, Hyphens will see that, and they too will begin to realize there's purpose in my pain also. The astronauts had to sit belted in, stuck in that very seat that was supposed to take them to their destiny for nearly an hour as numerous measures were completed for them to safely disembark. All they could do in that moment was wait. And when they finally made their exit from the rocket, they headed back to the astronaut crew quarters. I have a feeling they didn't return to life as usual. They didn't spend the next 2 days hanging out at the beach and staying at the Airbnb with their family members that had come in. I just have a feeling that in their waiting for the next launch, they began to prepare for that next mission, even in their disappointment. Amazing things can happen if you choose to prepare while you wait. In the season we currently find ourselves in, we need His direction as leaders more than ever. We need His version of our current how-to. It is challenging for me to even provide a how-to template for local and district hyphen ministry in this current season, given restrictions and safety precautions that differ across North America. But regardless of context, being present and ministering from the overflow apply. These two things, along with a weekly or monthly plan, just might look a little different right now. Typically, I would encourage requesting a space on your church campus that is specifically for young adults to gather, to make a cup of coffee and grow together in His Word. But right now, that might look like a Zoom call, or being intentional to connect with the young adult group after the weeknight Bible study where everyone has to be in the sanctuary because we can't split into different groups. Instead of meeting a young adult at a local cafe, it might be a FaceTime meeting or a park bench meeting. Instead of a night of worship and prayer in the sanctuary, it might be a night of worship at a local park or a night of prayer at a downtown location. This is the season for creativity. By now, you might be feeling that Zoom fatigue, and the energy to come up with the new methods might feel like it's just completely depleted. But I want to admonish you as leaders to stay the course. Know your why. This will keep you going even in these trying times. Release young adults, perhaps in ways you've never thought of releasing them before. Be present in their lives, even if it's a simple text message of encouragement. Minister from the overflow. It's impossible to pour out when you are empty. Get creative in how you minister, in how you connect, in how you release, and in how you grow. I want to close with the parable about the seed and the sower. Luke 8:4-8 says, "And when a great multitude had gathered, and they had come to him from every city, he spoke by a parable. A sower went out to sow his seed, and as he sowed, some fell by the wayside, and it was trampled down, and the birds of the air devoured it. Some fell on rock, and as soon as it sprang up, it withered away because it lacked moisture. And some fell among thorns, and the thorns sprang up with it and choked it. But others fell on good ground, sprang up, and yielded a crop 100-fold. When he had said these things, he cried, 'He who has ears to hear, let him hear.'" Matthew 13:18-23 says, "Therefore hear the parable of the sower. When anyone hears the word of the kingdom and does not understand it, then the wicked one comes and snatches away what was sown in his heart. This is he who receives seed by the wayside. But he who received the seed on stony places, this is he who hears the word and immediately receives it with joy. Yet he has no root in himself, but endures only for a while. For when tribulation and persecution arises because of the word, immediately he stumbles. Now he who receives seed among the thorns is he who hears the word, and the cares of this world and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word, and he becomes unfruitful. But he who receives seed on the good ground is he who hears the word and understands it, who indeed bears fruit and produces some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. As a leader, you are responsible to sow the seed, but the soil and the condition of the soil and the production of fruit is the responsibility of the young adult. It's between him or her and Jesus. You cannot force seed to take root in soil, and you cannot force young adults to produce fruit. You simply scatter the word in everything you do and everything you say. A global pandemic does give credence to allowing everyone a little extra grace. We all need that. We're all dealing with emotions and feelings that we have never experienced before. But I dare say it does not give us a sabbatical from the Great Commission to go and make disciples. We can still go. We can still make disciples. It just might look a little different right now, and that's okay.